What's up, everybody? Hope everybody's doing good. This is one of those videos that I wasn't actually planning on making because it's kind of just well, it was gonna just be a personal computer update, but all I really need to do is just add new storage. I'm out of hard drive space and I'm out of game storage space, so I just need really a new SSD and a new hard drive. And I was like, yeah, there's no point in making a video about that. Everybody knows how to do that. But then Antec reached out and they said, hey, we got a new case coming out in our performance series. Do you want to take a look? And I was like, at first I was a little iffy. I was like, I use the Gamdius case, and other than the logo being like yellow and then in your face, the glass is a little dark. But other than that, this is like one of the better cases I've used. It has great airflow, and I was content. I liked it. But I decided I would just check out what this new case was. So I popped on the internet, typed in P120 crystal, and I was like, oh. Because truth be told, there's only one thing I like better than how the Gamdius performed, and that's cases like this one. I like the look of cases that are glass on the front, well, glass on the front, glass on the side, and have like that radiator mounting that's on the side back wall, so it's kind of facing towards your wall rather than out the front. I just liked how they looked, and that's really the only case I would switch my rig into, and here it was. So I was like, okay, yeah, I'll take a look. And then also this, I didn't even know this at the time, but this would have sold me right off the get-go. Look at that. Just a switch. You just hit it and it opens and it can come off the hinges, and that's awesome. I mean, the Gamdius is a glass panel like this, but it doesn't have anything to hold the door shut. The S340 Elite that I used before has thumb screws, which work, but they're kind of a pain, and this is just awesome. So I'm gonna just update my storage turned into something a bit more. The first thing was, you guys might have remembered back when I French fried my 1080, I bought a 2080 Ti, and I also got one of the Corsair's new water blocks to go with it, and I really liked how it looks. So being that this is going in a case that I personally think looks really good, I needed to change my GPU water block. I didn't need to, I guess. I just wanted to change my GPU water block because the one on there is the Supremacy Evo, and I just kind of have some RGB lights that I kind of rigged up there on there. They're not addressable, so it's kind of a bummer. So I was like, you know what? Let's try the Corsair XC7 RGB out, see how it does. And then also, this case, to look its best, must have a 360 in there. My 240 would just look small. You got a whole 360 slot. It needs to be populated. So again, let's try the Corsair one out. So I picked up the Corsair XR7 360 and some fans, and then Antec sent over some of their Prism 120s and a new power supply. So with all that and the storage, of course, we're gonna rebuild my system in a new case and see how it looks. So now the part that nobody likes, taking a system out of a case and putting it in another case. So we might as well get started. Yeah. If only it was that easy as that little cheesy jump shot. I will admit that I grossly underestimated the amount of work of taking out a fully custom water-cooled PC out of one case and putting it into another case. I've done it with AIOs and air coolers, but throwing in a water cooling loop makes it a little bit more complex. I'm just glad it wasn't a hardline tubing setup, because that would have been even worse. But when it's all said and done, I think I like how it looks. I mean, based on my initial impressions when I pulled it out of the box, I knew I was gonna like how the case looks, but I was wrong. I love it. Personally, I mean, this is gonna sound weird, but I think this is the best looking PC that I've ever owned. And that's funny because these are all essentially the same parts that had my other one, other than like the radiator size and the water block for the CPU. But if it was all in the other case, and don't get me wrong, I like the Gamdius case. It had great airflow, but I just wouldn't have didn't think it was like the best looking PC I could have ever made with the components I had. But now I think it is one of the better ones I've ever had, if not the best one I've had. Also, you can see that I've opted to forego the classical new PC build unicorn vomit theme, and I've instead went for a theme that I'm calling America, because it's currently near Veterans Day, and I thought a red, white, and blue for the US of A would look good, and it turned out actually a lot better than I was thinking it would. So I think I might stick with this for quite a while until it's, at least Christmas time, and it's time to go with the Christmas theme, but for now, I'm liking it. But before we get into the looks and why I love it and why I like it and this and that about the case, let's just talk about the specs, because I'm sure, you know, there's many of you out there that are in the market now or looking to buy a new PC case and you're wondering if this thing is going to work for you. So let's talk about it. And let's first, let me take off the panel, because this is the best part of this whole deal almost, because it's a one-button deal. And there you go. So the P120 crystal's physical size is 485 millimeters high by 470 millimeters deep by 234 millimeters wide. The tempered glass is on the side panels, as you just seen, and the front, which is awesome. The P120 crystal can house up to an eATX motherboard. The PSU is up top here. It can be up to a maximum of 294 millimeters long. Graphics card wise, you can have it mounted both vertically or horizontally, whichever you choose. Most cases come with that nowadays, horizontal and vertical mounting. The best part though is if you choose to go horizontally, this case does come with a graphics card support bracket. But remember, you know, if you want to do it vertically like I do, or like I have here, it doesn't come with a riser cable. A lot of cases don't. I don't actually know of any that do. So if you want to do this, make sure just to remember you need a riser cable and buy one of those as well. This case does come with 2 drive bays. There are right here with drives in them, because problem, if you want to put a 360 millimeter radiator in the back, you can't fit 2 drive bays. So just know that, but you do get 2 with them. They can do 3.5 inch or 2.5 inch. And on the bottom, you can have additional mounting for another 2.5 inch hard drive. And then on the back side, where, you know, the back side of the motherboard tray, there's 2 additional spots for additional 2.5 inch SSDs. But yeah, these go here. When you don't have a 360 millimeter radiator, they stack on top of each other. They look pretty cool, but yeah, they don't work for me. As for fan support, the back here can have either 2 140s or 3 120s. The bottom can have either 3 140s or 3 120s. And then back here, of course, you got your 120 or 140 mount radiator support. Obviously, you can see here up to 360 back and bottom. And then if you wanted to, you could put another 120 if you really want to go all in on your radiators. I/O is up here, up on the top. You got your just classic I/O, power reset, 2 USB 3.0s, and the HD audios. As for clearances though, so this is a big deal if you're getting ready to build a case and know what's going to fit in there. So we'll just go over that again. GPUs in this case can be up to, so they can be 450 millimeters or less, and they'll fit. CPUs, the air coolers, can be up to 185 millimeters tall or less, and they'll fit. Power supplies in this upstairs little bay here can be, like I said, 294 millimeters or less, and you should be good to go if you make sure you meet all those requirements when you're picking out new stuff. So all that aside, now that we got all the specs out of there, let's go back to what I think about this case. And first off, I've already said it, I like how it looks. I'm just a big fan of, you know, the glass front and the glass sides with the radiators that mount on the back wall that blow rearwardly. I just like how that looks. I don't know, maybe you don't, but I do. And if you're wondering how airflow works, so essentially we're intaking from the bottom here. It's going up through the case, out that radiator, and out the exhaust side. So in, out, and it works great. I mean, I haven't noticed any issue at all with airflow in this case, and that's comparing it to the Gambius that was literally like if you just held a radiator out the window. There's so much airflow in that case, it was ridiculous, and I haven't had any problems with this one, so don't worry, airflow works great. Dust cover wise is even better, because you got one on the bottom here, and then on this back wall that I'll show you in a minute here is another one. So you got dust filters on the exhaust and the bottom, nothing on the back here, but that was one of the big complaints in the last one, is it only had a dust filter on the exhaust side and didn't have it on the intake side, which is probably the most important place to have one. So I do like that. But the best thing is, like, this whole thing is literally just metal. I mean, other than, so here, there's a little, yeah, that looks like plastic around this shroud. That's metal. And then the feet, the rest of this is glass or metal. And it means, at least to me, that it's gonna last a long time. It's like stiff, solid. You don't have any bendiness when it's all taken apart. The thing is just made good, and I think it's gonna last a long time. One concern I did have when I set off to build a new PC in this was my cable management, because it didn't look like there's gonna be much room to route any cables. You essentially need to keep that side clear for your radiator exhaust, and I just was worried because I'm not afraid to say it, I hate cable management. I'm one of those people that I'm just gonna mash that all in there and close that panel, and you're never gonna look in there again. But didn't know if I was gonna be able to do this on this one. Also, when you have this much RGB, it doesn't make your life easier. You're essentially adding a different or a new wire every time you add RGB to something. So RGB strip, 2 wires, 3 fans on the bottoms, 3 extra wires, 3 fans on the backs, 3 extra wires, a wire for this thing, a wire for that thing. So it's a lot of wires. So I'm gonna open the back of this up. I'm just gonna say now, trigger warning, because if you are real big into cable management, this is going to make you mad. So I apologize, but here we go. This will be over soon, I promise. How's that look? Yeah, so you know, I got a fan controller, I got an RGB controller, and then I have a motherboard with 4-pin, you know, RGB headers, and the fans, the Prism 120s from Antec, have 3-pin. So I had to buy a converter box that's in there somewhere. So yeah, this is how much cable management it has. You can ram all this stuff in here. I mean, I even have, you know, I have a cable extensions, and it fits. And the best part is, yeah, it doesn't look good now, but when you put the panel on there, it doesn't bulge it, and that's a big issue, at least I have with my cable management skills, is a bulging back panel, and this thing has got more space than you could reasonably think it would. So yeah, let me put this back on here, we can move on with our lives. If you're a big cable management person, I'm not, so fight me in the comments. So like I said, you know, I am using Antec's fans on the bottom here for intake, and they work good. I mean, the RGB looks good, fans are quiet, perform well. Nothing amazingly crazy to say about those. Power supply is from Antec as well, 850, works great, nice and quiet. That's another big thing I hate about power supply sometimes, is they're very loud. This thing is pretty much silent. I've actually never heard it spool up now that I'm thinking about it. The strips though, the RGB strips are also from Antec, and I mean, you would think they're just RGB strips, no big deal, but these things I actually really like. I mean, they're thin, and the magnets on them are legit, and that's a big thing that makes me upset about a lot of RGB strips, because I like RGB. But when the strips don't stick to the case because the magnets are little sissies, I don't like that. So I was really, you know, really liked how Antec handled their RGB strips. Also, the LEDs are quite densely packed compared to other ones, and I think they're just good products. So just know that if you want to get some Antec RGB strips, these are good ones, you'll like them. And as all other RGB stuff out there, these fans and the strips, everything from Antec that's RGB is compatible with like Aura Sync, like I have, or all the other ones that are used by all the different manufacturers. I don't know them all off the top of my head, but they'll all work fine. But the best part, and this blew me away, because I actually didn't know the price on this thing when I first started looking at it. This thing is available right now for pre-order on Newegg for $99. Are you shitting me? 99 bucks for a case this good? Oh, what? When I pulled this out of the box and I had no idea what the price was, I literally didn't know until I looked it up a minute ago. I was like, this thing probably costs about $150, maybe if you're lucky you can get it like $130. And then I saw $99 and I was like, duh, what? So, correct me if I'm wrong, but personally I think this is the best case that you could find that looks the best, good build quality, glass front and side panels, great support. I mean, the list goes on and on, but $99 for all that, that's insane. So this case, you know, as of filming is not out yet, but make sure you go get your pre-orders out there for $99, because that's literally craziness. And I hope the price stays that low, because if it does, this thing is not going to be able to be beat by much. So thank you guys for watching. Check the link down below to get one of these Antec P120 crystals, because I think it's the best one case I've seen in a long time. If you don't, let me know, but what's not to like?